Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. A really interesting thing happened when I was watching the Ugly Trio improvisations that they did, and then watching the original, because I was going back and looking like, well, which is a better version? What should we go with? Totally let go of the form and just experiment.
So we've just been working with Abigail Yaeger from Trisha Brown Dance Company. Abby first came to work with us in 2011 when she spent 6 weeks with Candoco dancers on the Restaging project Set and Reset, Reset. This project basically means that Abby taught the dancers the original phrase material from Trisha Brown's choreography Set and Reset, and then she worked with them on certain principles and a set structure to make the remake Set, Reset, Reset, which basically meant the dancers had input in improvising using the original phrase, but freedom in terms of their own entrances and exits and how they related to each other in space. We've just invited Abby back to help us with the recasting of Set and Reset, Reset. We are now in 2013 and Candoco's had a change of dancers, and to make sure that our version Set and Reset, Reset still works with those original principles and still makes sense for our new cast, we have worked with Abby on making sure that happens. One of the new dancers is a wheelchair user, and in the original cast we didn't have a wheelchair user. So this change and this impact obviously makes us re-look at both the original material that the disabled dancers used and how to make that best work for the new dancers.
Yes. Okay, so 2 up.
So it stays in the back. Look mainly the position, so much of the
So the bit that we're looking at in particular is the recasting from dancer Dan Daw to dancer Rodgers in the trio Ugly in Wall 2.
I've taken over Dan's role in the piece, and because he walks, I mean, fundamentally the difference in my ability to move and his ability to move made that section especially, but kind of the whole piece as a whole, very different for me to work within. Ugliest most of all because there's a lot of kind of connections and kind of sliding through each other, and with my chair and people's feet, it was always quite awkward for me to do that in the way that Dan had set up.
Sorry.
The piece is made up, as I said, from the original phrase material, and this phrase is divided into 4 sections, wall 1, wall 2, wall 3 and wall 4, called so because they play on the edges, each of these parts of the phrase.
If you had been a part of the original 6-week process, then we would have just gone into a place of exploration mode. And the way I see it is, it's like this chair is, it's like it's a quartet in a way. I mean, it's a trio, it's a quartet, where but in other words, we're not ignoring this. This is something to be playing with as much as we're playing with each other's arms, and what is its possibility? What you know, you're starting to get at that indoors, like how much can you make the chair move? What are its limits? Experiment, play, improvise. Let go of the phrase, pick up on the things that you see. You can reflect it at the same time, you can feather it in time, you can mirror or reflect, however you want to talk about it, the momentum that you see, like a big swooping of the arm, and that's taken into the movement of the chair coming around. So you see, for instance, the drop of Mirjam's arm, and you take that into the chair, and it takes you around, so you extend it. What does this particular configuration with this particular set of material and this particular set of ideas yield? And then that's what defines this form. So a year and a half ago, it defined something that was about these 90 degrees. That might not be what comes up. And in fact, I don't think it is, because what you're discovering is that you have a lot of torque and spiral, so that's going to become the defining feature in this section now.
If she did resist, I go like this, and if she doesn't resist, I don't
Same
go
thing. Same thing.
No, she'll go, but if you didn't go at all, if you just stay still, I can do a lot more.
No, but what I'm saying is the same thing for me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Even with, yes.
So
but you can. You can still take your own leg to turn.
So can you can take that moment.
But not if I'm trying to dance the way I'm trying to dance, which is I'm trying to work not from controlling it. So it's not so different. If you guys keep doing this, you are skill building right now. You are skill building. You're getting better and better and better and better and better, and trust it. And so let's do it again. This was a discussion that we had last time around. It's like we are changing this piece. And in doing so, we're not going to just let the piece go, but we're going to ask what is fundamental to the piece and certain principles. So keep looking and tapping into those principles, but you don't have to be so literal with you have to do the phrase. And I think it's got to breathe more than that.
So yesterday and the day before, we were working with Abby, and she was giving us some real freedom, which was great, in kind of looking at what we were doing, reinventing based on the same phraseology that we'd initially used, but reinventing the form to some degree so that it would work more with a wheelchair user than with someone who's capable of walking. Each time you might go back, and I do this, and knock off this, and like further down my arm.
I feel that the form that you guys were dancing of Ugly, not the improvisation, was much more alive and resonant after you had gone through that whole process of improvising. So that, to me, was visible proof of what we're talking about. When you're coming into someone else's role that's not yours, you have to have agency inside of it. But what that means is you have to make it your own. And I was just talking with Rick about this, but making it your own does not mean changing the form to make it suit you. It's actually kind of the opposite, and it's really, that's the greatest challenge, which is how do you make something that's not of yourself yours? That's the greatest challenge. And there's incredible loyalty to the form. So what just happened was there was so much more playfulness and spark that comes from the confidence of you being yourself, like when you feel most yourself as opposed to trying to be someone else.